This broadcast is senior BJP leader Ravi Shankar Prasad. Mr. Prasad, welcome to India Today. The first question that's being asked by the opposition in this Hindenburg 2.0 saga is why is the Sebi chairperson fighting this battle by putting out statements through the media? Why does she not resign, recuse herself, or at the very least order an inquiry? Who will regulate the regulator? Should there not be some independent inquiry rather than the Sebi chief giving herself certificates of innocence? Ravi Shankar Prasad, welcome, sir.
First of all, it is the second report by Hindenburg. The first came before the elections. The Supreme Court inquired, 24 inquiry reports in all. Sebi has issued a notice to Hindenburg. Who is Hindenburg? Biggest investor is George Soros, a rank India, anti-India investor. You know it very well. We have talked about it. How he says there is no democracy in India, there is no secularism in India, and he undertakes a hit-and-run campaign globally against India and India's interest. That is what Hindenburg is about. Hindenburg, instead of replying to the show cause notice, has come with a second report making these kinds of wild insinuations. What do you mean they should not reply? I am not standing for Sebi Chief. It is entirely her outlook or his family. But she is fully entitled to respond to these wild insinuations. Second, there is a robust mechanism within the Sebi itself. I will gently advise Rahul, your assistant team in legal, to give you a briefing. There is a whole architecture in the Sebi Act where you can go in appeal to a tribunal headed by retired Chief Justice. In the Sebi board, there is the Government of India people, there is the Reserve Bank, there are economists, there is independent director who take a decision. Again, decision of appellate body, you can go to Supreme Court. But the larger issue is, why did not Hindenburg, with all collusive agenda with opposition here, did not file reply to the show cause notice? And they are short sellers themselves. Therefore, by ushering in instability in the market, they want to benefit out of it. I mean, India is poised to go as the third economy in the world after fifth, removing the mess of Manmohan Singh government. Then all these things are happening to frustrate India's story. India, being the beneficiary of biggest FII and FDI, must be held back. I salute the small investors. This time they are not buying that story. You want further inquiry by all these collusive, conspiratorial allegations to cause havoc in the market. Not acceptable.
So the government's charge is that Hindenburg Research is acting in cahoots with the Indian opposition. The opposition counters by saying if that was the case, wouldn't this have come much earlier in the budget session, soon after or before the budget? It's come when the budget session was already over. The next session is still some distance away, and therefore it's clearly not playing on an Indian political calendar. If it were, it would have come 7-10 days earlier than it actually did. Maybe Hindenburg is just doing its own job and the Indian opposition has nothing to do with it. Mr. Prasad.
The reply is very straight. The first report was when? Before the elections, to cloud the elections. The second report is after the results. Naturally, they also want some time to show their responsibility. They have been defeated third time in succession. Therefore, this whole parliament is over. Let's open the floodgate again. That's my charge. And Rahul Kanwal, why only Hindenburg? Why no other report questions like this? Why only this agency? And by the way, with your stature of extensive experience of Indian journalism, in the whole 10 years of Mr. Manmohan Singh as Prime Minister, we have so many shames, scandals, scams, from coal to 2G to whatnot, in which many foreign investors were involved. Antriksh Devas, Westland helicopter. Why there was no report like this? I am only outlining the suspicious circumstances. Second, very important, Rahul Kanwal, does the Congress party and the toolkit gang spare anyone? They condemn the election commission, a constitutional body. They condemn you people, the media, called you Bika Hua media. If we say like that, then we will be hanged by you people. We will never say that. We respect you media and freedom of speech and expression. Do they spare the CAG? Do they spare the CVC? Therefore, Sebi is a very small body for them. They never care about institutions. But we care about India's economic stability. And that they want. Have a can of worms, without basis, without foundation, keep a dangling sword overhead about India's economic potential so that foreign investors and FIIs go back or reluctant to invest in India. Should that be allowed? That's a larger question.
The other question being asked, Mr. Prasad, is that Madhuri Buch remained a 100% shareholder of Agora Partners. This is a consultancy firm based out of Singapore until 16th of March 2022 as per Singapore records. This is during her time as SEBI's whole-time member. And therefore, the question that is being asked is it appropriate for someone who's serving as regulator, as SEBI chairperson, to have a consultancy gig on the side, which would have been perfectly okay in her past life as a high-flying banker and investment analyst, but not if she's now regulator?
I am not sitting here to speak for Madam Buch. Be very clear about. Nor I wish to. She and her husband have issued a detailed reply, except as a student of law, I want to highlight there is enough safeguard available in the whole mechanism of SEBI about recusal in case of conflict of interest. But larger question, Rahul, I would like to flag. Should we again make these bodies only being managed by retired bureaucrat IAS, or should not allow some fresh, experienced people of great eminence to come and help India's economic growth and stock market management? There's a larger question. तो फिर कोई नहीं आएगा, माफ करें आप. सिर्फ असफल, unsuccessful, who could never make anything in their life, would make a beeline for parvey and psychophancy to become a board member. Why should anyone who has a promising career should come? That's a larger question. For the first time, I'm flagging this on issue, and I'll appreciate if there's a good debate on it. Otherwise, no person of competence will come. Sorry. Someone comes to do a work for the country. Why should? Therefore, please, let us not reduce this public debate on a national channel like yours to a tutu-meme because of the Congress party arrogance and, as I said in my press conference, in their pathological hatred against Narendra Modi, they have started hating India itself, India's growth story. Don't allow that to happen.
Should the government order a new probe on the back of these charges, given that they now concern the regulator? We're also being told, and you're an ace lawyer yourself, that a review petition is being filed. The same group of lawyers is coming back to the Supreme Court wanting to present this new evidence before the court and asking for the court to intervene and order an independent probe. How do you see that play out, Mr. Prasad?
Is there any bar to a review application not being filed? Since you mentioned, yes, I am also a small-time student of law and lawyer. Is it not a fact, Mr. Rahul Kanwal, that many people are doing their politics from the corridors of Supreme Court? मेरे दोस्तों, अगर पॉलिटिक्स करना है मैदान में आओ, लड़ो, जीतो. Don't do politics from the corridors of Supreme Court. This I have said earlier, and today is the time for me to repeat it. Many failed politicians are doing their politics from the corridors of Supreme Court under the garb of gown. Don't do that. Politics is a serious business. Yes, they have gone to Supreme Court. The court will take a call. The government will respond in the Supreme Court. No one has stopped it. But will they be sure, or again like Rafael, they will start insinuating against the Supreme Court and again apologize under the garb of contempt? Rahul Kanwal, I hope you remember the Pegasus issue, when Rahul Gandhi has said, हमारे phone को भी hack हुआ है Pegasus से. When the Supreme Court ordered inquiry, did he offer his phone for the inquiry in spite of being asked? I think that speaks enough. Spit and run away. Please don't destroy India's economic success story by making this kind of almost hateful, conspiratorial campaign for your own political end.
You know, we just heard from a Congress leader before this, and he was asking why are industry bodies like the Association of Mutual Funds of India and the others jumping into the regulator's defense. Their charges, the whole ecosystem run by the government is ganging up to protect one of their own. How do you respond to how the opposition is playing this and seeing this, Mr. Prasad?
Maybe they are seeing to the, I don't know what they have said, but maybe they are seeing the real game of the Congress party. That is, the stock market gets disturbed and the small investors' confidence is shaken. They also suffer, no? Do they? By the way, Mr. Rahul Kanwal, I have been told a very interesting story. I have not examined myself, but you are free to examine it if you so wish. Rahul Gandhi's asset detail in 2019 and 14 and 24, and how much stock earning he has done from his stocks investment because the stocks appreciated. I think he's also an investor, I'm told. Come on. Today, crores of Indians, millions of Indians are investing in the stock market. Allow them to have the fruits of their investment. That's all I have to tell you.
One last question.
Hindenburg, a short seller, being funded by George, should not be allowed to create havoc in the country. Yes.
You know, one last question. It's being suggested that there is a corporate rivalry at play, that a group which has run afoul of this government, where action has been taken in multiple cases, seems to be responsible. That's the charcha in the market, the gossip in the market. Is that something which the government also believes to be true, that corporate groups are actually propping up Hindenburg Research because they have an axe to grind against the government and the current system, Mr. Prasad?
Maybe there are groups and there are groups, but you know, I always talk something based on evidence or too much of suspicious circumstances. I think you'll have to await my debate next time, when I go through this today.
I'll leave it there.